Happy World Population Day. It's my privilege to welcome you to today's discussion, Population and Development in the 21st Century.
As we gather for the World Population Day, we also celebrate the 30th anniversary of the 1994 International Conference on Population and Development,
when the 179 governments came together in Cairo 30 years ago and envisioned a different approach to population issues. They laid out a program of action that set ambitious goals for improving reproductive health, reducing infant, child, and maternal mortality, and achieving universal access to education, especially for girls. The program of action emphasized sustainable development and the responsible management of natural resources.
The 30th anniversary of the ICPD program of action is thus taking place as converging megatrends and polycrises reshape our world. How we respond to these megatrends will determine the future of humanity and our shared planet.
There are two indisputable global realities. Some countries are experiencing prolonged periods of very low fertility and are facing the rapid aging of their populations, and then a growing number of countries' population decline. On the other hand, there's countries with persistently high levels of fertility and are grappling with the challenges of rapid population growth and working to find the resources needed to invest in healthcare, education, and infrastructure. Our goal is to help individuals realize their reproductive goals and preferences. We must center our discussion around individual rights, first and foremost.
If we were to examine the regional breakdowns, right, we would notice that production and consumption patterns, as we see them across various countries, actually have not been equitable. And this has tended to be led majority by the global north. Despite their smaller populations, the presence of inefficient production systems and technologies have contributed largely to some of the issues of global warming and climate change that we experience in recent times. Now, on the other hand, while developing countries are characterized by lower levels of consumption when you compare these levels to what we see in developed countries, these large populations can still put pressure on the environment because with increasing populations come increased demand for resources to survive. And these can contribute to the environmental degradation that we see, deforestation, loss of biodiversity, all of that.
I think it's really important to just to draw attention to a statement that was released by UNFPA today, a statement from the ED. And part of it reads, for humanity to progress, people must be counted, wherever they are and whoever they are in all their diversity. To go uncounted is to be made invisible, and as a result, left unserved. And I think that is a very important point for UNFPA to make. LGBTIQ people are part of populations everywhere, we always have been, but there are very few development and humanitarian processes that actually result in LGBTIQ people being counted.
What we found in the program of action was incredibly rich content that reminds us that population is actually a group of people, a group of individuals with hopes for their future, individuals who are deserving of rights and opportunities in their lives. And when we examine population trends, of course, we look at numbers, but the program of action helps us understand that behind every number is a person. I think we all recognize, as our panelists have highlighted for us today, that the job is not yet done on achieving that vision from the International Conference on Population and Development. Something that emerged really clearly to us is that we are very far from where we need to be in living up to this commitment.
Does demography matter for development? It absolutely does. A country's age structure is not deterministic, but it does set the scene for political, economic, and social dynamics.
So I think as committed as we are to preserving our natural resources using the growing body of innovative technologies that we are seeing, we should be just as committed to continuing to preserve and then advance sexual and reproductive health and rights in other settings.
As we're thinking about the 30th anniversary of the ICPD, to really look through a population lens at the multiple issues that are connected to population and thinking about what that tells us about where inequities exist and persist, what that tells us about the future, what that tells us about the kinds of investments that we can be prioritizing today to get to the future that we want, and realizing that vision of leaving no one behind.
We know that there are concrete things that we can all be doing. We talked about contextualizing. We talked about the importance of data, but also recognizing the people and rights behind that data. And we talked about inclusion as a design principle. Happy World Population Day. Thank you and goodbye.